About an hour ago, I received an email from a customer of ours who bought my toolkit for installing or removing a ignition tumbler. And he writes back, he says, I got the tumbler in and it's stuck and I can't turn the key. Oh, and that's a huge problem. In fact, that's a big wrench dance, folks. If this hasn't ever happened to you, it's a real problem. And I keep trying to warn people. I put up videos, I warn people in my product descriptions, and yet this still continues to happen. And I know how painful it can be because on some of these cars, you can't even move the car, let alone start it. And of course, you can't get the key out, which means you can't get the tumbler out, you can't get the lock out, and you're stuck, literally. That's not a very happy pun, by the way, because you really are stuck. So basically what happened is he put everything together and the key won't turn, just like this one. Now, I have the black cap off. I replicated what probably happened when he did this, but I left the black cap off because with the black cap on, I would have a big wrench dance. But I've got a little secret here in my toolkit that's going to help me get this back out. But literally, look, the key tumbler assembly is locked up. It won't turn. It'll only turn a little bit. And if I use the standard factory tool to try to get it out, notice the tool will not line up with the slot to go in and release that spring clip. So you see that this is indeed, folks, a big wrench dance. And by that I mean it's a big problem. You don't necessarily need a big wrench, but you're gonna have to have lots of tools and lots of patience and suffer quite a bit of pain to get the solution or the problem solved. Now there's usually 3 reasons that I've found over the years working with these ignition tumbler assemblies when you stick them in a lock and they bind up. There's 3 reasons this happens. Number 1 is your lock assembly is worn out inside, it has too much play. Now you say, well, it was working a little bit before I took the old tumbler out and put the new one in. Well, that's probably an indication that it was worn out. When you stuck the new tumbler in, which doesn't have as much wear as an old tumbler, it won't move. The second reason, which I think is the most common, is you don't have the alignment right down inside. You can actually turn the lock assembly 180 degrees out and shove this in, and of course it won't move because it's out of line internally, and that's what's happened here. That's what I've replicated this morning. So I literally cannot move this thing. And if the black cap were on, my only option would be to cut the black cap off or grind it in a couple locations in order to get these spring clips off. And I go over that, in one of my other videos. But I tell you, this is a tough one. And then finally, the third reason these lock up is because of a bad tumbler. And I've warned people over and over again, don't buy these cheap tumblers off eBay or off some of these other websites. If you're buying a tumbler less than $20, just buyer beware. I know some of you are thinking, oh, Kent, you're just trying to sell your own tumbler. Well, actually, I'm trying to save you a lot of pain because we get these tumblers in and we have to test every single one of them. We literally take every tumbler that we get, we insert it in a lock, we test it, and we have to reject 10% or 15%. So if you're the unfortunate one who buys one of these cheap tumblers and sticks it in there and it locks up, I'm sorry. So just be forewarned, if you're going to do this, there's a risk, okay? So what I've done is I've developed a little special tool. I have a lot of resources, by the way. Before I talk about this special tool, I'll just mention at the end of this video, I'm going to put links to all the resources I have. I have a video that I shot from a 1993 100E that I had to go in and literally cut this cap off and grind this and get it out of the car. And that was very time consuming. So if that's the situation where you're all locked up and can't turn the key and this assembly's in the car, I would refer you to that on-demand video. It's almost an hour long. Also, if you've got it locked up and the cap's not on, I have help for you. So I would recommend, if you're doing this job with what I call these snap cap tumbler assemblies, I would recommend, if this is in the car, that you go ahead and insert the tumbler and test it first before you put the black cap on. And then take it back out, get the cap and everything lined up like you see in my instructions, and reinstall it. Once again, when you buy the tools from me, you get some video instructions on some of the tricks to get this installed right and not have this lockout problem that people are experiencing out there. So what I came up with after some of my own pain was a tool that would bypass the factory slot. And let's see if I can get this tool in here and get this tumbler assembly out even though it's locked up and not turning. And this can be a little tricky. Look at that. There it is, folks. I got the tumbler out, the one that was locked up and would not turn, with this special tool that I make here in my own shop. But you have to have the black cap off to do this. So if this has happened to you, you're going to have to, whatever way you can, get in there and cut or drill this black cap off the ignition lock, and then you can use my emergency release tool to get the tumbler out, okay? So I'll put resources below. I'll show you where my manuals are, where my videos are, where my tumblers and tools are. Everything will be listed in the show more part of the description below, because I'm trying to help you not have this happen to you, okay?